It was a stormy night. Waves were crashing left and right. You're in your rack, on your boat, trying to sleep, but you can't. Luckily, daybreak comes, and it's your turn as the ship's cook. So, you go to the bathroom, sit down for your duties, and before you know it, a freak wave hits the side of the ship, sending you down 100 feet off the Nigerian coast. Panic sets in. Water rises. You're in complete darkness. You look for an air pocket. Luckily, you find one. You try to find a way to escape. No results. You come back. As you're coming back to your air pocket, you're feeling for things. You bring it back with you. You take a breath, try to escape again. No results. You go back to your air pocket and realize escape is not possible. So you hunker down and you wait and pray. And luckily, 3 days later, you are rescued. No, this isn't a Hollywood story. This is Harrison Odeke's survival story. And a lot of people would argue it's luck. But I'm here to argue the opposite. My name is Josh Smith. And about 3 years ago, I took a Coursera course on learning how to learn. And a small portion of that was about luck. And it got me thinking, what is luck? So for the past 3 years, I've been researching it and found that we have a misconception of what luck is. So the goal of today is to redefine luck with a simple formula. And that formula is planning, perception, and action. Now you might be saying, Josh, why does this matter? Luck is what it is. It's been around for thousands of years. We're not going to change it. Well, what if I told you, if you change your perception on luck, you can seemingly take the power of luck and make astronomical changes in your life. If that's something that interests you, stick with me for the next few minutes as we redefine luck. So, the first step in luck is planning. Jim Rohn, he's an American entrepreneur, author, and motivational speaker, once said, most people plan their vacation with better care than they do their lives. It's a pretty crazy thing to say, right? And on top of that, people like Jim Rohn and Brian Tracy agreed that only about 3 to 5% of Americans actually sit down and write out their goals. With that, a study from the University of California found that people who write down their goals are 42% more likely to actually accomplish them. So what does this have to do with luck? Well, planning doesn't guarantee success, but it does highly increase the odds of being successful. And with increased odds of becoming successful, you increase the odds of being perceived as lucky. So now we have a plan, right? But we have to be able to see new opportunities to complete that plan. And with that, we're going to use something called a reticular activating system. Now, according to Harvard Medical School, a reticular activating system is a network of neurons that filters the enormous amount of sensory information the brain receives, determining what becomes conscious attention. That's a lot of words, right? To put it simply, what we think about is what we notice, okay? A great example of a reticular activating system on how it works is something called the invisible gorilla experiment. Now, I'm paraphrasing here probably quite a bit, right? But a group of Harvard students, they got together and they filmed themselves passing a basketball. Then they sat a participant in front of the TV and said, count the number of passes. In the middle of a video, a man in a gorilla suit came in, beat on his chest, and walked off. Now, of course, that ended up being the point of the study, was how many people actually noticed the man in the gorilla suit. Personally, I would think 100% of people saw it. But, surprisingly, only 50% saw it. That's your reticular activating system at work. Obvious opportunities pass us by, right? For Harrison, what he was focusing on was survival. when he was going to find evacuation routes, he was also grabbing things that felt useful. Cans, that ended up being cans of Cokes, sardines that he ate for those 3 days, wood that he would sleep on, that way he would stay up out of the water. Harrison wasn't lucky, he was looking. One more point I want to make on the reticular activating system is kind of a fun one. So what if I told you everybody in this room had a chance to make $5 in the last however many minutes? In all the previous slides, it's too late, it's too late. In all the previous slides, there was a hidden message in there, an invisible gorilla. I'll give $5 to whoever raises their hand first after the beginning of the speech. Maybe I need to add a little bit more in there at this point in the slide, right? But the point is, there's invisible gorillas in front of us in our everyday lives. We just have to be primed to see them. So now we have our plan, and we know how to look for opportunities to complete that plan. But those two things mean nothing unless we take action on the plan. And that brings us to our final step of the formula, taking decisive action. So, Harvard Business Review found that up to 90% of strategic plans fail due to lack of execution. Not lack of planning, not lack of not seeing opportunities, but because they didn't jump on the opportunity when it presented itself. Now that's really easy to say, but what does it look like? Decisive action really look like? Let's run another experiment. I have $5 here. For the next 10 seconds, I'm willing to sell this $5 for $1. Do I have any takers? Gabe? Gabe, all right. What Gabe just did, is that lucky? Did he magically just get a 500% return? No. He saw an opportunity and he acted on it. Now, full disclosure, Gabe was my backup in case nobody else stepped up. But the point still stands. If you see an opportunity, you need to act on it. Otherwise, it's going to pass by. So with Harrison, what that looked like for him was the immediate actions he took to survive. Right? When he was going for an air pocket, he knew to look for it, and he knew how to find it. Because of the planning, in particular, activating system beforehand. And with that, our formula is wrapped up. Now, Webster's defines luck as to prosper or succeed, especially through chance or good fortune. Today, our definition of luck moved closer to preparation, meeting opportunity, and acting upon it. So now the choice is yours. You can continue to believe that luck is magic and random, or you can take control of the power of luck with this new definition. Because once you understand it, this formula, you'll no longer be waiting on luck. You'll be creating it. Thank you.